Hi everyone, it is April. I am here today to share with you some booktubers that I have discovered in 2020 that I adore. Let's dive in. So I have 10 booktubers here that I want to share with you. I've discovered all of these people in 2020. And I don't miss a video by them. I am hooked and I hope that you will be too. There are some really wonderful people on this list. So let's dive right in. First, I want to share Alice with you from the Book Castle. Alice, I believe, lives in Denmark. Excuse me if I'm wrong. I'm pretty sure she lives in Denmark. And she is so chill and casual and calm. That's one thing that I feel like I think we're moving towards that direction on BookTube. There are more chill booktubers on BookTube now, but she is just relaxed and I just love watching her videos. She does these vlogs that are so incredibly cozy as well. In any case, she reads a lot of literary fiction and classics. We don't always have the same opinions on things. Like, she felt just meh about the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires, and I was like, oh my god, I loved that book. So we don't always have the same opinions, but I love hearing her opinion about the books that she reads. I just adore her. I think she comes up with really inventful videos, and there's something about Alice that I feel like our channels are similar in quite a lot of ways. So I hope that you go and check her out. She's very lovely. Next is Grace over at GK Reads. Now, I have spoken about Grace a bajillion times. She is wonderful. She lives in England. I think she lives in Brighton. And she shared her moving vlogs with us. I have adored her vlogs. She's not a big channel thus far. She has over 1,000 subscribers, but I don't think it will be long before her channel blows up because she's so wonderful. Grace reads a lot of literary fiction and modern classics, a lot of modern classics, and I really love listening to her. Her vlogs are so cool. So she'll do these reading vlogs where she'll, for a week she'll read, let's say, holiday reads, or she did a vlog where she read, I think it was thrillers by people of color, and just spent the week reading those. I adore Grace, and I hope that you will go and check her out. Next up is someone who doesn't need any more subscribers, but I definitely subscribed in 2020. It's Regan over at Peruse Project. Now, Regan, I started watching during the beginning of the pandemic. She lives in New York City, and she does reading vlogs every single week. And she vlogged her way through the pandemic when New York City was really hard hit. And she was so collected and still, really looking on the bright side. She's a very optimistic person, and I really like her. She lives with her little pug, Matilda, and her boyfriend in an apartment in New York City. I believe she works in publishing as well. And I really like Regan. Now, we read very different things. She reads a lot of fantasy, a little YA, but a lot of fantasy. I don't think I've read maybe 5% of the kinds of books that she reads I would read. So we're very different people, but I just love her vibe. I just think that she's an incredibly optimistic person, and it really shows through on camera. Next is what Victoria read. So Victoria lives in England. Victoria is someone that I would genuinely love to be friends with in real life. I think Victoria would be the type of friend, is this weird to be talking about her this way, but I think she would be the type of friend that you would call first when shit went down in your life. I think you'd pick up the phone and say, I need I need an ear, and she would be there for you. She's just so genuine and so empathetic. I follow her on YouTube and Instagram, and the stuff that she shares on Instagram is always, it's like a hug. She is like a warm hug. That is Victoria. So she lives in England. She is a teacher in England. Maybe that explains why she's like a warm hug. I don't know. But her personality definitely lends to teaching, and I can only imagine how many kids she's helping in her work. So she reads a variety of books. She reads thrillers. She'll read literary fiction. Like, she has, I think it seems like, an obsession with Margaret Atwood, and the Canadian in me is always like, yes! When I see her bookcase in the back, it's all Margaret Atwood. And what was the other author? Steve Kavanagh, I think, also, like, a really interesting mix of reads, and I really trust her judgment. So I do hope that you'll go and check out Victoria, because she's just lovely. Next up is another very, very lovely person. This is Angie over at Science Mama. So Angie homeschools her kids. And so she does this mix on her channel where she talks about homeschooling, and then she also talks about the books that she's reading. And it's this really great mix. So if you have anyone in your life who's homeschooling, you should definitely send her channel over to them, because I think a lot of people have decided to homeschool, especially in this climate, and how difficult the world is right now with COVID. And I think that she could help those people out just by showing how she does it on her channels. And she reads a lot of historical fiction. When I think about her channel, I think about historical fiction. She does read nonfiction as well and other genres, but for some reason in my head, I think Angie equals historical fiction. I don't know why, but so she'll read things like The Nightingale, all of the, more popular historical fiction. She read The Pull of the Stars, and she compared it to As Bright as Heaven. She also has a science background, so it's really interesting how she approaches some of these books. So she looked at the Spanish flu and how it was portrayed in As Bright as Heaven and The Pull of the Stars, and that was fascinating to me. I still need to read The Pull of the Stars. In any case, I just think that she's an onion that would be so interesting to like peel back and learn more about. I really, really like her, and she's another one that I feel like I would want to be friends with everybody, but again, she just feels so sweet and kind. So go and check her out. Next is a booktuber who's, oh my goodness, her channel exploded this year. Noelle Gallagher has over 100,000 subscribers now. Her channel just exploded, and she is such a hilarious person. I love Noelle. I think she's a film student. I think she's doing her master's, if I'm not mistaken, or her PhD in film. And I think she is fantastic. She has a really cool sense of style. Her makeup is always amazing. She can do a winged liner like no other, but we're here to talk about the books that she reads. She reads such an interesting array of books. She reads a lot of horror, like Stephen King to the max. She reads romance. She reads some literary fiction. She's kind of all over the place. She also collects old copies of books. So she's trying to collect, beat up, very old copies of Stephen King. So she has a P.O. box and people will send them in, and every time she opens her P.O. box, she cries. She's very emotional in the best of ways. She's very genuine. I really love Noelle. I'm not surprised that she reached 100K. But man, did her channel blow up. Amazing. Next is Lindsay over at Lindsay's Book Life. And I really enjoy her. She lives in the US. She's also a teacher. If I'm not mistaken, I think she teaches high school. And she reads differently than me, but I'm always fascinated by what she's reading. And I usually end up popping over to my Goodreads and adding a book that I'd never heard of onto my TBR because of her channel. She reads a lot of literary fiction. I feel like the vast majority of her reading is literary fiction. She also reads a lot about nature. She is quite an outdoorsy person herself. And I just really, really enjoy Lindsay's channel. So go and check her out. Next is Jordan on the channel Left on Red. She lives in the US and she really is doing an amazing job at highlighting Black authors and Black literature. Now she reads, I think, widely, but she has purposefully chosen on her channel to discuss Black authors. So she did, I think, 2 episodes just on the Bookcase, which is huge. I have it just up there. It's just out of focus. You can't see it on camera, but she did 2 videos on that. She's done a video on Lovecraft Country and compared it to the series on HBO, I think it is. She's really fascinating. I really, really love her books that she shares. I also feel in this case that she does read a lot of mainstream Black literature, but also there are books on there that I had never heard of before that she opens my eyes to. So I really want you to go definitely check out Jordan's channel. She doesn't post too regularly, but regularly enough, maybe like once a week, once every 2 weeks. Next is Jalen over at Bar and the Bookcase. I really love his channel. He is similar in some ways to Grace over at GK Reads in the sense that the vibe is similar. He reads a lot of literary fiction. Vast majority is literary fiction, some modern classics, and also a lot of new releases, I will say. One thing that I love that he does on his channel is he starts nearly every video with him cracking open a beer, usually a local beer, and he'll talk about the beer and what he likes about it, and then he'll dive into the books that he's reading. And it's just a really nice start to his videos. I really trust his opinions on literary fiction for sure. Go and check him out. And last but certainly not least is Ashley over at the Bookish Realm. I highly respect Ashley. First of all, she is a mama of a little girl, very similar in age, like maybe 2 months apart. Her baby girl and Nora are maybe 2 months apart. And I just think she's probably the hardest working person on BookTube. She works her butt off. The amount of videos that she posts and the amount of commitment to the BookTube community is next level. I feel like she continues to make BookTube better and hold BookTube to a higher standard and the standard that we should all be getting to. I just really respect her. She reads quite widely. She reads a lot of middle grade books that I'd never heard of before. A lot of Black middle grade books that I have been placing. I have a little wish list on Amazon just for Nora, and there's so many on there because of Ashley. She also reads a lot of YA and a lot of new releases. Now I will say Ashley is a librarian, and it's so interesting. She'll do these Q&As about her experience as a librarian, what it's like, and how being a librarian goes beyond just books. Like, you actually are doing quite a lot of service to the community along with helping them to find really good books. I find that fascinating about her channel. I will say my favorite thing on her channel is probably when she gets book mail. Once in a while, people will send her stuff, I think usually from her Amazon wishlist, but her opening book mail and the joy that she has, like, I could watch that all day. Honestly, I could watch her open books on camera all day. Just love her channel so much. So please, please, please go and subscribe to Ashley. You will not regret it. And those are everybody, all of the channels that I discovered in 2020 that I feel so grateful that I discovered. Let me know in the comments below if there are any channels that you discovered in 2020 that you really love, and pop their names in the comments below. I hope you guys are doing well, and I'll chat with you soon. Bye!